would you care to give us the pledge of allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Brother Johnson, would you care to give that?
I'd be glad to.
Thank you, sir. I'm used to you being over here.
I like to move around.
Yes.
We thank you, God, for this community in which to live and which to play and work and learn. We ask that you give our leaders wisdom tonight to help this to be a safe and healthy community. Amen.
Thank you. All right. In your packets, you have the minutes from the July 1st, 2014 meeting. Is there a motion to approve these minutes?
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any changes need to be made to the minutes? There's not any. All in favor of approving the minutes as is, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That motion passes. We'll move into new business. Item A is approval of advertising for secretary position and street department summer hires. So it doesn't say who's asked for this to be put on there, but I'm assuming,
I did,
okay.
because I saw the ad in the paper for the municipal court, and it just hit me that we hadn't said anything about trying to get someone in the clerk's office. And the street department summer hires, it's just the street department employee.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the advertising for these positions?
Motion.
Motion, do we have a second? Any discussion?
Do you have the job description? Did you ever come up with a job description? Or do we know what we're advertising for?
Yes.
Could I ask what we're gonna advertise for?
We're needing a general secretarial person. There's a lot of filing, some computer work, some bookkeeping background, general secretarial help.
Okay, that will replace Tracy, since she's been.
Is there a starting pay that someone calls about it, they can ask it?
I'm sorry, I was not prepared very good for this,
For either
new
position.
business. What, I mean, I know we've got a starting pay for police, but did we come up with a starting pay for other?
No, ma'am. It's not set rate.
Randy, you haven't started paying. What was starting Tracy yet?
$12.
Huh?
$12 an hour.
With experience. She's an experienced individual in that position, so it's gonna have to be a little bit based upon experience, but
Now, our police, they're not, what are they, what's their starting pay now, 12? Okay.
but that's
So,
an
Ms.
experience.
Riser, you have a,
I'm trying to.
or would
roll
you
it
all
over
like
in my
to
head.
just advertise, open, and then discuss it later?
Salary based on experience.
Okay. Is there nothing, is that for the street department also, Mr. Walker?
What are we looking at?
What do they normally?
1050 is what they've been starting at. But you're not gonna get a,
1050, okay.
you've been
Okay.
lucky to move people over from grant program, not hire somebody in with qualifications. You know, they've been in long-term unemployment, you know, to get them at that price. So I would ask that maybe that be considered too on qualifications.
Yes,
Based on experience.
starting, yeah, based on experience, but we're looking at what starting salary is 1050 or
Okay.
experience.
All right, and as far as the finance and street committee, I'm assuming that financials were all right with the 2 hires?
Yeah, they were already budgeted.
Okay. All right, any other questions? There's a motion on the floor. All in favor of advertising for these 2 positions, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item B is approval to pay dues to the Boot Hill Regional Planning and Economic Development Commission. This is every year, essentially the same amount of $3,279.60. It is a budgeted item, approved during the budget. I'll ask for a motion to approve this amount. We have a motion.
Second.
Second, discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Additional new business.
Say again.
I have some additional new
Okay.
business.
Yes, sir.
We've got some proposals for some intersections, and we really need to get those approved tonight so we can look at going ahead with this project, getting one of the intersections done before school starts. We've got, could Larry go ahead?
Terry's got the bid. We contacted 4 companies and only one submitted a bid. The others, because we got it out so late, said that their schedule was full and they could not get the work done in a timely manner.
We open the one bid we had.
Please.
From Knuckle Brothers, Inc. Intersections improvement, North Walnut and Wayne Street 32-8, Chico Road and East Fish Street 47-9, Jones Street West 7th 42-3, West Washington Holden Walter 43-9, concrete curb and gutter, Wayne Street 30,260, Cypress Street 28,300, Anthony Street 29,400. It's good 30 days.
We paid for 3 intersections last year. We paid how much?
130,000.
Yeah. Close to it.
Yeah.
36.9, say 36,000 more for the 4th intersection doesn't seem unreasonable at all. It's pretty much in line with what we've had.
Have you used them, have we used them before?
Knuckles Brothers are the ones that did a lot of the work on, around the Cheryl Crow Pool and on Main Street, South Main, for the sidewalks. They've done a lot of work around town. The company that did the work last year for the intersections was called the Hessling Brothers out of Dexter. The foreman that actually did the work for around the swimming pools and stuff worked for Knuckles Brothers at that time. He moved to Hessling's last year. He did our intersections last year. He's now back with Knuckles Brothers. So we'll have the same quality foreman to get the work done in a timely manner.
And they do have the total on it. The total's $254,940.
The transportation tax money.
100% transportation tax.
Now, we're not in discussion, but
Okay, I'd like to make a motion, we accept the bid.
we have a motion, we have a second. I will say historically, they have been some of the higher bidders. If it's been a sole bid, I have some doubts about price, just based off historic values here at the city.
Well,
I personally had a run-in with them, with it at the dog pound, about that.
recently here?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm actually not, without another bid, I'm not really enthusiastic over that company. Just my own opinion, as in this position. Well, I hope we can progress, but I'm just saying that's my only
Yeah.
reservation with this particular company.
But if they go back and try to get more bids and we still don't get any more bids, then what?
Yeah, I know,
The
I'm just.
only
giving
thing
the-
we're gonna do is, if, by delaying it, is we won't pull off that 4th intersection. I mean, we would have to say no to that 4th intersection, so that's the only thing that's at risk for this, is not being able to do that last one. Otherwise, we can get everything else done, can't we?
If we do what, re-advertise?
Mhm.
I mean, I'm sure we can do that, but if they're busy now and can't get it done in a timely manner, I can't see re-advertising it.
And
It's
doing
gonna,
it.
How many did you contact? 4. All from the normal companies we use.
And this is the only one that responded.
Anybody out of Arkansas, Jonesboro area or anything?
no, these are Frauenberger out of northern Cape County, Oak Ridge up there, a funny name out of Kelso, Hesslings that did our work last year, and Knuckles Brothers. And Frauenberger called me Friday and said, you know, it's just too late in the game. They came and actually looked at the sites and measured them and stuff like that, and they said they picked up too much work last week. A company out of Kelso called me yesterday and said, we don't even have time to come down there and look at it. We're booked up.
So the bid's for $254,000. That's for just the one extra intersection?
Well, the 100,
That's for the
But
four
the-
intersections
Four
and the three
intersections
streets.
and 3 curves and gutters.
And you're talking about doing 3 in-house? You said we're only adding one more intersection?
no, if we do not take this bid, we will only be able to do, and get somebody else to bid on it.
Oh.
We will only be able to get 3 of the intersections because of school. The only way we can get all the intersections is if we take this bid and go with it tonight.
West of Washington, at Holt and Walter, school will be starting the second week, or the 10th or 11th of August. And they told me today that they would get that done. But they would probably get that intersection done and be gone for a week or 10 days before they came back to start on the others so they could do it. But they would bring their whole crew in and work on that to try to get it done to beat the school.
Randy, what was the cost last year on the ones you did?
The 3 was, and please don't hold me to this, it was somewhere around $130,000, $125 for 3 intersections.
So that
And it's
37,000 more is
166,
what our estimate is for that 4th intersection, which is reasonable, I suppose.
Are they equivalent intersections?
Well, they're different square footage.
I mean, are they pretty close to equivalent?
3 of the bids are 42, 43, and 47,000. The other one is 32,000, smaller.
Where are we getting the 254?
That
When
includes-
you add the curb and gutter and for the 3 streets.
Was it 130 curb and gutter last year or not?
We didn't do any curb and gutter.
This is only,
The intersections are 166,980, curb and gutter, is total for 4 intersections, then the 3 curbs and gutter, 87,960.
So that's in line, if we take the curb and gutters out, the price is in line.
I didn't know, I just took last year's numbers and I guessed at $155,000 for the intersections. I didn't have a good guess on the curb and gutter because I've never dealt with that. I didn't have any idea what it takes to do that.
curb and gutter are working towards our non-paved, getting those streets taken care of, but that's about.
Well, motion on the floor, any more discussion? All in favor of approving the bid for $166,000, which just bid 4 intersections, $166,980. Say aye.
What about the curbs?
Are we doing curbs now, we're doing the,
No,
Well, I
part
thought it
one
was all
bid.
together,
Total
wasn't
bids
it?
is 254.
It's a complete bid,
the 254,000?
yes. This is,
I asked them to break it apart so we would have an idea of what the curb and gutter was costing us. If it was all in one lump sum, I wouldn't know, so next year we wouldn't have, I'd have some kind of idea of what we might be looking at if we were doing this type again.
this is 3 of our streets that are not paved, getting them progressed to pave. Part of the progression to become a paved street, and then 4 intersections as well.
Could we, a silly question maybe, but should we just blacktop the gravel
That's what's in the
without doing the
plans.
curves?
Yes, but it's been discussed and planned all the way through that we would put the curb and gutter in because of drainage issues.
I didn't know, I mean, if we can just blacktop it. If there's that much drainage, I don't know.
What streets are they? What, can you say what streets they are?
Wayne Street, Cypress, and Anthony.
The Cypress and Anthony were dumping our water onto MoDOT's aprons, onto their right-of-way, into the storm drains there, and that's the reason we had them engineered and put the curb and gutter in, so we can control the stormwater.
That they won't, now, that's not gonna mean that all the streets are done like this. This is, a lot of them will be just like you're talking about, just asphalt.
Cause this is 600 feet on Wayne, 560 Cypress, it's 583 on Anthony.
This is controlling what, that part of town.
Any other questions?
I don't know, correct me on this, Randy, and thinking back from the time we passed the ordinance requiring curb and gutter. There's Pickens Drive, the only one I think that we allowed an exception.
The, Terry,
Well,
the city can do what it wants and
the
the
city can do
residents.
what it wants, it's the,
Developer.
if the developer's putting in a system in a subdivision, they have to do
Okay.
curb and gutter. Pickens Drive was different because, they basically paved their own street.
Okay, all right, we gave them an exception, all right.
I don't like hearing that we've had problems with them on the animal shelter, but I also know that in order to get these projects done this summer, we're gonna have to act upon it, or else we won't be getting it done.
I agree, that's why I'm torn.
Yeah, I
You know,
have
there's,
a very.
there's a pretty nasty argument, to say the least. And I'm not for it. I'm just, even though I
Can
hate
you-
to say that because it's
Can we go,
progress,
can you go
but-
into more detail? Can you, is it possible?
Oh, it was just about the air conditioning, a lot of problems with the building, how it was built.
And
didn't-
they have built that
Nothing stood
building?
behind it, did not stand behind it.
But there is a little more behind it in that that building was ordered and was on the ground for, what, a year? Before it was put up, wasn't it, Roger?
Some period of time.
So, I mean, it's not, they didn't build it from the beginning with their stuff.
They constructed, they used other materials
But then they also subcontracted some of it.
under
wasn't
their
it?
supervision though.
And that's where some of the problem came in,
But the contractor's responsible for the job,
yeah.
Well, I've always said, but
But you're comfortable with this foreman, you've used him
But
before,
they've
he's done
done
good work.
other work in town that's,
I can tell you
been
another
good.
bid that was open, there's probably about a good $100,000 difference.
For the same work.
Same work, yes, sir. I tell you, that a lot of these jobs that, when we actually put them to the task, they were the highest bidder by far.
Oh, you mean in another situation, not this situation?
Not this situation, in different situations. That's why my gut, I have a hard time approving this just the sole bidder for $250,000, $250,000.
But it is in line with what we've gotten.
That's what I was
Yes,
gonna
sir.
say.
It is in line, so that's why,
Yeah, so, and I mean,
I'm just giving you my hesitation. That's
Yeah,
it, I
I've
mean, you all
got-
make a decision.
I understand that.
I don't like the fact that we have one bidder at all, but if we wanna get it done,
But I would definitely ask that, Randy, you personally take it on yourself to the phone and call up any construction company within this tri-state area, within a 100-mile radius, if you would please. Just let them know about this bids.
You wanna put it out
even if we
again?
approve.
No, not this
the bid
one, not this one,
tonight?
just,
No, but in the
just for
future.
future.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
there's no reason not to contact someone from Jonesboro. I mean, it's an hour down the drive, they got several
Right.
construction companies. Or wherever, wherever that, I just use Jonesboro's in my head right
For
now.
future.
But there's no reason to contact them when,
well, let's
So
try
close.
to, in the future, let's try to
Yeah.
have 3 or 4 bids, that's just all this
You know,
is.
hopefully, next year, we can put this out in January and February, we can go ahead and start engineering on stuff next year instead of starting the engineering in
well,
mid to late April or May and trying to put it out for bid in, late June.
so. But that's it, that's, I wanted to get that off my chest, so everybody's correct. We have a vote, or a motion on the floor. All in favor of approving the bid for $254,940, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The bid passes. Motion passes. Okay, anything else, Mr. Palmer? Can you do that?
No, sir. Thank you.
We're gonna move into unfinished business. We have item A, vote opposing rezoning.
Sheriff also called me today, has requested that we table it until the next meeting. I think that would be a good idea.
We'll table that.
That's a motion.
Somebody made a request. Somebody
All right.
questions on all this.
Item B, updated, updated walking trail. I did get an email in, whether, Randy, you got the same email, do you want to?
I thought I'd address that in my report, if it's all right.
Perfect. All right, we'll skip on to, let's just do the committee reports. You got anything to report from the committees?
We had a public safety committee meeting before the meeting tonight, and we had a representative from Opti Traffic. Did I say that right? Okay. Which will be coming back to explain probably a little bit more in detail to the council after we've kind of looked at it. Something the police are interested in, preliminaries for traffic control and safety issues in town. So had a very good presentation from them. Some of this stuff I'm probably just gonna let, because we had a short meeting, so John Malott will probably, we'll just let you go over some of the things that, when you do your report, okay, if that's all right. About the request that Victor had, that we need to talk to Terry about. Do you want me to do that?
Well, I can ask you. Terry, is there a possibility that an ordinance can be drawn up to limit the number of check cashing facilities in the city? There's other cities that have done it. We've gotten 3 to 4 additional inquiries just in the last week. And with those inquiries, they've asked us, do you have an ordinance that limits the number of facilities? And in researching it, there has been other communities that have put the number.
I didn't know if that's municipal Missouri or not.
I'm just asking if you can research it and maybe come back with an ordinance.
It's more than that, it's
Well, I mean, first the council, I think we have to determine if we want to pass an ordinance like that. There may be people in here that, don't want to pass it, but that is an issue that the police and the Department of Public Safety have come up with, and they want us to look at it. So if you look at that, and then also, John Malott asked for his permission to advertise in the newspaper for part-time fire and part-time police, like for the reserves. And the committee felt like that was something that should be done, and voted to recommend that we advertise for part-time firemen and police officers. And then, especially on the police officers, because they would be reserved, and I guess they would be.
They're filling, when you're short scheduling, if you can have one of them fill in, it can save the city on overtime, especially if there's a sickness or a vacation with a sickness or something like that.
So before we actually hired them, we'd have to come back to the council, but we did want to at least advertise and get sort of a roster of people that would be available.
Is that in form of a motion?
Yes, it is.
There's a motion on the floor to advertise for part-time police and fire. We have a second discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Wait till committee department.
Anything else from the committees?
Yes, we had a meeting with the sidewalk committee tonight, and basically getting input from the community on the direction that they'd like to head, where they think we need to focus sidewalk repairs, and we're trying to, as we meet next week, the street department, the street committee will also look at budgeting what we need to with the sidewalk and for improvements as well. Right now, it looks like the community kind of feels like focus around the schools and make sure that it's safe walking paths for the students. Keep looking towards that.
Would the street committee have any opposition to bidding the mowing of the drainage ditches here in town? Just to get some pricing?
Could we defer that to the next meeting and let me discuss some issues, some things with the street committee on that? So if, in our meeting next week, some ideas on that?
Okay.
We're meeting next Tuesday.
The sidewinder, what I call sidewinder, the side mower, cannot reach these ditches any longer. They've been dug, they've been cleaned out, and the banks, I even asked the township, and they said, you only reach so far. We can't get into the ditches any longer, so.
We gotta do something.
Okay, anything else?
No, sir.
All right, department reports.
Real quick, mine start. The Kennett Police Department, they had one of the DWI checkpoints in the city Saturday night. They had over 700 cars go through there. There was quite a few citations I don't have the exact summaries of them, but they had a number of citations issued, things that were like no driver's license and no insurance or whatever, quite a few cars towed from that. There's also, Randy may hit it, Randy and I both went to the TAC meeting, first part of it. I would say, hopefully, we push 412, maybe from Kennett South, starting to creep up high on the priority list through the region. So Randy can elaborate on it more if you want.
Anything for the chief?
Elaborate a little bit more about that meeting. I know we can't push an issue or anything, but again, like the MoDOT representative said last week, that if the amendment passes August 5th, that 412 will get done. The last time we have an opportunity to remind you all that it's important to vote and to consider what that might be positively or negatively towards Kennett. But you know, it's MoDOT representative, remember, said, you know, if it passes, it will get done, you know, not immediately, but over a 10-year period maybe, but if it doesn't pass, it won't get done. So, reminder on that. And basically, there wasn't a whole lot of new information at the TAC meeting. Do you agree with that? It was more or less a review. There was a couple of new things and more meetings and training and stuff coming up at that, you know, that time. My main emphasis would like to be real quick. It's been on the national news a lot, and what Mayor Crafton was talking about on an email. The Secretary of Transportation, U.S. Secretary of Transportation, had sent out a letter on July 1st, got forwarded to us on the 11th from the MoDOT director. And what it's saying is, if you've all been listening to the national news media, that the Federal Highway Trust Fund is running out of money. Okay, what does that mean to us? It doesn't affect the MoDOT amendment, it does not affect our transportation tax, and it does not affect our sales tax that we receive off of fuel. Okay? What it will affect will be our enhancement grant, the hiking and biking trail, and the money that we receive through what we call STP funds. Roger, we used those years ago to overlay Kennett Street, College Street, we did part of commercial with it. MoDOT used some of our funds for the handicap ramps on First Street. This is $47,000 that's allocated to the city of Kennett each year out of the Federal Highway Trust Fund to keep things moving in the town. How this will affect us, and it's in the letters that you will have in front of you, but was explained a little bit better today at TAC meeting, was that they think that the fund will be funded in the typical government fashion of continuing resolutions and typical worship and haggling, but sometime it will be brought back up to speed. And how that's going to be funded, we don't know yet. But they do feel like it will be done. How it's going to affect the city of Kennett. When we get permission to go and put the hiking and biking trail out for bid, we have to pay the contract. We've been paying the engineers within 30 days of receiving their invoice. When we get that invoice, we immediately forward that to the state, it's sent up, and we get reimbursement back. Most of the time, I guess every time I've had experience with it, we've received that reimbursement before we've paid the contractor. Now they're warning us that that may not happen. We'll get reimbursed, but it may not happen before we have to pay those people. When we signed the contract with them, we said that we understood that that's a possibility, and we had to be in a liquid enough situation to continue that project to go. They tell us that that the state will get reimbursed twice a month. I don't know if that'll be on the 1st and the 15th, or they don't give us any date, instead of daily like they get reimbursed now. When the state submits a bill to the federal highway, they get reimbursed the same day or the next day. So that's going to fall. if they've received enough requests to the state for reimbursement, that when they get an allocation back from the feds, and they've got more requests in than that, everybody else goes into the queue to be paid in order that they were submitted. But it might be 2 weeks before that came about. And I have every reason to believe